What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Now, as most of you know, I'm currently right now in China, and I'm also working on another hyperpolyglot investigation, and I'm about halfway through this video. I was hoping to have it done by today and even uploaded by today, but this is realistically not going to happen because, well, it is just so difficult to get to YouTube, friggin' Instagram, TikTok to download the shorts and the videos that I need to make this video. So I've downloaded like half of them, but like just to download a 1-minute short is taking me like 10 minutes. And the internet, I don't know if it's like the internet in this hotel region, my VPN issues, whatever, because, you know, obviously China's behind the Great Firewall. I'm just having a really hard time getting all the content that I need to make the actual video. So instead, I thought I would talk about something else of interest to me. Because recently, I've had a lot of questions about people asking me what are my levels in the languages that I speak. I don't claim to be a polyglot or a hyperpolyglot or anything crazy like that. In fact, I only really speak about 2 languages. One being Esperanto, where I say I'm fluent, and one being Mandarin Chinese, where I think I'm around a strong B1, maybe heading towards a B2. I say that, and like my evaluation has changed a little bit over time as I've done more and more of like these actual investigations, as I start to realize like how hard these tests actually are to be able to claim those levels. So my evaluation is probably around a B1 plus type of thing. Now, in thinking about that, that's just my personal evaluation. I've never actually done a formal test because I've never actually needed to do testing for the languages that I speak because, well, I've never been trying to prove myself in a way. But then that got me thinking, why not actually just do a test? Now, there's 2 options here. I could do Mandarin Chinese or I could do Esperanto. So I figure my Esperanto has been kind of left to rust a little bit, and I want to give myself like a new reason to really go into it hard and like just improve it a lot while I continue to study my Mandarin Chinese. So why not take the C2 exam for Esperanto? Now, a lot of you are probably completely unaware that you can actually do that. Like, there's the European Common Reference, you know, whatever exams, they actually cover Esperanto as well. Now, I looked into it, and apparently there is a C2 exam happening next year, both online and in the Czech Republic as part of the Universal Esperanto Congress. Now, I could do the online one, or I could go to the Czech Republic, give myself an excuse to go to the Czech Republic. I've never been there before. So I was discussing it with my wife, and she's kind of up for the idea. So I'm thinking there's a good chance that I'm going to go to the Czech Republic next year and take the C2 exam for Esperanto. But I have no idea what was actually required for one of these exams beyond like what I've read. And I figured if I go take the highest level one, then I can actually comment even better about, you know, people's abilities in these languages if I manage to pass it for Esperanto. So I looked into it, and anyway, as you can see on my screen right now, there's actually some information from the Universal Esperanto Association about the upcoming C2 exams in the Czech Republic. And it says, Concurso plej bona reganto de Esperanto alvoco alandaj asocioj kaj individuoj. So it appears that not only is there a C2 exam happening next year, there's also a competition happening to find the best Esperanto speaker who passes the C2 exam during this period. And then there's some actual awards. You can win some money awards, some like rebates and stuff like that. But basically, if I was to win it at all, I would just use it to buy Esperanto books because you can also use it as like a coupon type of thing. But if we have a look right here, it says, on the occasion of the session during the 110th Universal Esperanto Congress and Brno, I don't know how to pronounce that city in like, you know, proper English or Czech or anything like that, on the 1st of August, specifically for the level C2, on location or at the same time online, UEA which is the Universal Esperanto Association, is setting up a competition for the best user of Esperanto. Land associations and individual members are being called to take part in this competition. And then there's got all the conditions down here about, you know, what's actually necessary to take part into it. So like, I've got to, you know, sign up beforehand, pay for the exams, blah, 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 let them know that, you know, I want to take part in the competition. So I was thinking that could be a fun thing to do for next year. Basically take the C2 exam for Esperanto, hopefully pass it, because like I've never done one of these exams before, and then maybe even win a competition in the process, who knows. So I actually, you know, wanted to have a look at what's actually required to do a C2 exam, like on the day type of thing. And I thought this would make for a fascinating video for you guys who have never actually taken one and you've just guessed at your own level like I have. to see what's actually required. So I found this article right here, and this is an article, it's actually in English, and it's by Judith Meyer, who I actually know. She's an Esperanto speaker out of Germany. I've actually worked with her on multiple occasions before, and she's taken the C2 exam for Esperanto. So let's take a look at this. This weekend, I sat the online language exam, an official CEFR C2 exam that will result in internationally recognized certificate, not one of those online self-tests. It was an inspiring experience since fellow participants came from all over the world, and there were in-person exams happening in various cities, and she just lists out the city as, oh, I've actually been to that city. The language I was sitting an exam for was Esperanto, and in the following I will share my ideas on how I prepared for such an exam for any language. Now, I'm curious to see this because, well, if I'm going to sit this exam, I'm going to want to do some prep work, obviously. So there's a picture of a classroom, I guess, that's happening there. Why take the exam? I'm not too interested in that. Improve your level, check your level. Yeah, this is probably more what I'm looking for. And prepare for the experience. Okay, so this is what I'm curious about. Prepare for the experience. High-level exams can be grueling. The C2 Esperanto exam, and this is quite typical also for other high-level CEFR exams, comprised of a 3.5-hour written exam, half of it dedicated to reading comprehension and half of it written production, a formal letter and a report for a magazine. I reckon I could probably pull that off without too many issues. My only concern is that it's 3.5 hours written. I can't actually write for very long. Like, I'll write for about 10 minutes and then my wrist gets really sore because, well, I just haven't done any writing in for like ever. Okay, right outside my hotel is like this crazy loud motorbike. A listening comprehension exam of 90 minutes, during which we had to answer questions on 2 5 to 10 minute audio clips and then produce a written summary of a 20-25 minute conference letter. Yeah, I reckon I could do that, no problems. A speaking exam which progressed as follows: choosing 1 out of 2 random social topics, having 20 minutes to prepare a 6 to 8 minute speech at a scientific conference on this topic without using any books or the internet, giving that speech and then answering questions for another 6 to 8 minutes. That's the bit I'm curious about. Like, I know I can talk for 6 to 8 minutes in Esperanto, no problem. I've done it like hundreds of times. But on a scientific topic, like what scientific topic? There's a lot of topics I could talk about, programming and stuff, but I don't know what they would throw at me, so I think I'm going to have to do like a very diverse amount of reading. Okay, the speaking part was the easiest to prepare for. For almost every day I chose a topic at random, did the 20-minute preparation, and then tried to speak about it. Wherever I was missing vocabulary expressions, I prioritized learning them. Okay, so that's what she done. The listening comprehension exam was harder to prepare for because apart from the language skills, it also requires good memory and focus, which are harder to improve in the short term. Of course, you can still practice, and your note-taking skills will probably improve quickly, which helps so that you don't have to keep as much in memory. Ooh, okay, so for the written exam, vocabulary, grammar, but mainly endurance is the biggest obstacle. If you have been out of school for a while, you probably haven't recently had to sustain high level of concentration for a stretch of 3.5 hours. Plan ahead. What shall you eat? What you're gonna, like, tools. Calculate how much time you have for each task. Oh my god, this sounds like hell, man. My actual biggest concern is the written portion, my wrist giving out. So I might actually have to, for like a year, build up my wrist. Like, I don't know if you can type on the day. In fact, if anyone's taken the C2 exam, please let me know. Are you allowed to type? Because if you can type, that's going to like lower my anxiety so much. But if I have to like hand write out a friggin', I don't know how long this needs to be. It doesn't even say. Yeah, it doesn't even say here. It's just like, you just have to write out a lot, okay? If I have to write a lot by hand, I'm pretty sure my wrist is going to give out, and I'm going to have to spend, like, the next year building up my handwriting muscles to be able to even do this. But yeah, so this is the crazy idea that I'm thinking about doing. It's kind of terrifying in one way, because obviously when you finally say, well, you're going to take an exam, that's very different to just saying, well, you know, I'm conversational, because conversational could mean, you know, I might be a B1 in Esperanto, I could be a B2. I'm pretty sure I could pull off a C2 though, because like, I've done business negotiations in Esperanto, I've written investor letters in Esperanto, I've written articles for magazines in Esperanto, obviously I've taken part in podcasts, video interviews, all sorts of stuff, so I think I should be good. Except maybe I need to dive into that scientific stuff. Now, I guess I got a couple of questions. If you've done the C2 exam, please let me know, like, what actually happen for you? And does it seem to be different from the Esperanto C2 exam? And like, how should I prepare? Is there certain topics that I should cover, like I should study for type of thing? And specifically, if you've done the Esperanto one before, let me know your comments. Like, how did it go? Because I am very, very curious to see how this goes. Anyway, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Well, that's pretty much what I'm going to plan for. And of course, I'll keep you guys posted on this. What I'm thinking is actually, I might start doing a lot of reading in Esperanto, like maybe an hour a day type of thing, and recording what I'm reading, maybe in like a spreadsheet, and just make that publicly available to everyone. So, you know, I've read this and now I'm reading this, you know, and blah, 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 blah type of thing. And again, I'm open to suggestions about stuff that I should be reading in order to take this exam and pass it, obviously. And that's pretty much it. And I'll see you all in the next video. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next video because, well, it's really up to the internet here and whether it lets me even upload this goddamn video.